Hi, my name is Sumit. I am the co-founder of GameStack. First of all, I hope you guys are enjoying your day over here and had a lovely lunch. Not to make it sleepy, I think we can keep it more interesting and chatty and conversation focused. Gaming marketing is very dear to our company as well as the co-panelists who are joining me today. At GameStack, I'll just quickly introduce and then probably we can start with an introduction of ourselves so that everyone is aware of what we are doing and up to. Right? We have a service arm and we also have a game tech arm where marketing of games and bringing brands into the games is what we do at GameStack. So, and I lead the overall business in India for GameStack. This is our own passion project now coming in fruition as a leading startup in the gaming marketing space. Kirti, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Kirti. Please pardon my voice because I'm a little under the weather. I'm from Moloko. Moloko is a 10-year-old company, basically the world's largest DSP. In India, we are fairly new, just 6 months old, but the kind of growth we have seen is tremendous. So I'll be very happy to share some insights and I hope you find it helpful.
Hey guys, this is Avinash here, and I'm an app marketing consultant at Appy. So Appy is basically an app store optimization tool. So think of it as a turbocharger for your app. This helps you improve your visibility and also helps you to work on your conversion rate both organically. So by adding Appy, your growth in the organic growth segment is completely sorted out. So that's about Appy and me.
Hi everyone, we'll try to keep you awake. Thanks for joining us. My name is Sujin. I lead sales at Adjust for India and South Asia. Adjust is a mobile measurement platform. We basically help app marketers and a lot of gaming studios across the globe to help their user journey, user acquisition, and the journey after that. So that's about me in brief. I'm sure we'll have more learnings with each other and with you as well.
Hello people, my name is Mallikarjun Reddy. I'm the founder and CEO of Moran Mappo. In simple words, we are trying to make gaming brands famous and loved through a lot of digital strategies. That's about it, and we'll try to make this session a bit interesting. I see a lot of faces, long faces in fact after lunch. We'll try to keep it engaging.
Was leading the initiative of business development, right? And Moloko, if I understand it correctly, is highly data focused. When you engage with your clients and app marketers, right, and game marketers, how do you see gaming marketing as a space in your ecosystem at Moloko? And that's one. And from an overall perspective, what are the challenges that you see in India and opportunities as well? In brief, if you can state.
For sure. So I think Moloko as a platform, initially when it was developed for gaming because for gaming as a category, ROAS is the basic metric. So if you are able to deliver the kind of ROAS for clients and drive them towards profitability, I think that's the key factor wherein they're looking to invest their money on those channels. I like your second question that what are the challenges you faced because India, I think ours is a completely machine learning platform. And for a machine learning platform to work, I think you need that initial data to be fed into the machine because the machine is as good as the data we feed into it. And the entire intelligence it develops is from that data. So initially you faced a lot of problems because clients are pretty skeptic in sharing their first party data. But I think it is high time and a lot of clients are now understanding that their own data, which is their own first party data, is the fuel to get those next set of incremental users which they are looking for.
Avinash, you and Aptly, how do you see in your playbook game marketing playing a key role and how do you engage with game developers? That's something that I would love to understand and probably the audience would also love to understand how they can use Aptly.
So there are two ways in which an app or a game can basically get users. So either it's through the inorganic way or it's the organic way. And all of us in the industry know that the value of an user who comes through the organic way is 3 times that of a user who comes through the paid way. So we basically focus on that. And there are multiple ways in store itself we can get these organic users. So take for an example. So you are booking.com and someone is searching for hotel booking. So how does Google identify that, okay, someone who is searching for hotel booking and we should be showing, so it makes sure that the number of people or the volume of people who are actually searching for booking.com, so that it can help booking, the actual booking.com app to use that particular keyword in their metadata to make sure that they get enough visibility out of it. So that's just one part of the tool. Or so we say that keyword optimization or having the right keywords in the metadata is a building block of ASO. Then comes competition monitoring. What do competition actually do, or what are the changes that competition actually make? So for an example, so let's say MakeMyTrip, it's a competitor for Booking.com. They made a metadata update. Say that they changed their title and they changed their screenshot on last week, on the 15th of October, and we see that their downloads actually spike by the 20th of October. That means that there is some kind of relation between changes that they made on 15th of October, and that change can be studied, and we can also incorporate or extrapolate from that information and see what was the reason behind that change, and we can also inculcate it into our strategy. So that's the second part, analyzing competition. And the third part is the conversion rate optimization. So even if you have 100 users coming to your store and only 20 users are actually downloading the app, we need to know what's happening with the 80 users who actually had an intent to download our app, but they never made the download. So that's where we have to understand how our message is communicated or how our value proposition is communicated. So that's where the screenshots or the short description that you give for your app plays a major role. So by changing the order of the screenshot itself can help better deliver a value or better deliver a value proposition, which can actually impact on the overall conversion rate. So basically at AppTweak, by using AppTweak, what you can do is that you can optimize for your keywords that will eventually give you more visibility. Then you can understand what the competition or what the category is doing. Then last but not least, how to optimize my conversion or how to optimize my store listing page so that more and more users who actually lands upon the page downloads the app. So that's basically in a nutshell what we can do with AppTweak and how game developers can also work magic organically.
Sujit, help us understand the role of an MMP, right, in the gaming marketing space. And if I understand, both of them are talking about spending, right? How do you optimize the spends? And at an MMP level, how do you see that as an opportunity? What game marketers today are sitting at, and the challenges that you guys are solving for?
See, from the UA perspective, if we talk about, I think attribution plays a very, very important role. Unless you don't have an ability to actually focusing very, very blind, right? Because especially when you come to a lot of gaming category, as we see, especially when they start, they usually spend on one channel, which is mostly Google, and then they get into Facebook and the other mediation platforms, right? Unless you don't have an MMP, you really don't know where your attribution is coming from, right? So if you want your UA strategies to be correct, and you actually know that which is the channel which is actually driving the right installs for you, it's not only install, you need to track the entire user journey beyond that as well, right? Whether it's whatever KPI metrics you're looking at, be it retention, LTV, ROAS, like this is important metrics for the you need an MMP to track it, right? Unless you don't have that, and also a third party, right? MMP is a third party channel. You don't actually go ahead and attribute to something which is not the last engagement. So if you, as a user, you're engaged with 5 different ads, and you click via, let's say, Facebook as a channel as the last view, and you will attribute it to that. But you can, via another thing called multi-touch attribution, you can still map the entire journey and how other mediums are doing for you. Probably Google is the one which is still driving a lot of impressions for you because you're doing a video-based campaign on YouTube, which is still driving something. Probably not the last engagement, but yes, it is driving some branding for you, which is in turn giving you a last mile install. So I think unless you don't have a tracking platform or attribution platform, your strategies can't be fine. You are still hitting it down, and hence you need it to actually go out and be it. And I think it's good. I think it's UA, you also need it in the ad revenue space because we solve that purpose as well. That which is an actually mediation platform where you're actually getting the maximum fill rate or where your CPI and CPMs are better than the other. We help in both UA as well as the ad revenue.
Arjun, tell us how are you different from what these guys are doing? I know that you said something in the beginning that you make games famous, right? How do you do that? What are the strategies that you help games popularize and go possibly viral, if I may use that word?
So, just to correct you there, it's not only about games, any gaming brand for matter of fact. For example, you people are lucky that you have money to spend on Google, Facebook ads and everything. For example, I don't have any money and I'm a game developer or a small gaming company. How would I do that? So, there's no rocket science behind it for matter of fact. One thing that I've been doing in terms of marketing is how to make sure my organic presence, my social media, or the community building that I do for the existing clients. For example, I have only 100 players using my game. What I'll try to do is I'll make sure that I'll take feedback from them. Try to improvise on the game that I have. Maybe I'll run it for another 3 months where I don't spend any kind of money. All I would be doing is doing SEO for myself. Maybe I'll spend 500 rupees a day in terms of paid ads because that always helps. A lot of things I would try to do is where I don't have to invest any kind of money. Organic branding, building partnerships, making sure the players know about me in general, about the company, about the game. And then maybe after some time, 3 months, 6 months, I'll start spending maybe 500 rupees, 1000 rupees a day and try to build on it. I'm not one of those guys who spend. I come from a tech background where we burned like millions of dollars in terms of making brand awareness, making sure that we have that lead, making sure we qualify it, making sure that we convert it. One thing that I've learned from the edtech segment is you don't require money to be famous. If you have a good game, if you have a good product rather, it will eventually take you to places. I see a lot of people building around this. Community building is one of the key factors that I personally feel that if you have a very strong community, word of mouth will always play the role. And you spend 100 rupees in advertisement and you spend 10 rupees in organic branding, doing little bit of everything. I feel that it is much more fruitful rather than spending the entire money there. So I always prefer the organic approach, trying to make sure the product is really good and the company and the developers and the people working around it have a feel good factor about the product. So that's how I take it, always for that.
Can you possibly share an example of a success story that you worked upon?
So I've recently launched this. It's been like 28 days. I'm working with a UK company which is hyper casual RMG game, Gamers Pro. They were planning to launch in India, but unfortunately, because of the 28% thing, they're not that keen. Brazil, compared to India, it's not that good of a market, but I feel it's a tiny, small droplets will always make the ocean. There, people like to spend roughly around about $3 to $5 on a game monthly. Then what we tried to do was we did a lot of PR activities. Along with that, we tried to reach out a lot of influencers in general. Again, in Brazil as well, RMG segment is not that well taken by the influencer segment of it. But our target and the objective was to get 80% of the money that we spent the first month, 110% the second month, and so on and so forth. What we did was, we reached out to a lot of influencers there. Some of them were okay, some of them were not. But what we felt was the initial people who came in, where they had good experience on the game, along with that we accumulated a lot of data, like you said, a lot of data. Maybe for we did calls to them, we did user interviews, we checked that if there is any kind of friction from onboarding to playing, or for a matter of fact, withdrawing the money. We learned a lot of things which we wouldn't have done if we would have aggressively used a lot of money. Because the initial 200 people gave us a lot of insights. What needs to be changed in the game? There was a small friction in terms of withdrawing the money. I think so 12% dropped out of the 100 people that because of the friction. We tried to fix that. We had a board with them. We got them on board again. 3 of them stayed and Yeah, unfortunately, 8 of them left us. That's absolutely fine. 3% is again a good retention number. What I felt was here again, they had a good budget, like they had $15,000 a month to spend. We told them that we will use it eventually. We took a contract for 6 months, working towards the same goal. One thing that I've learned here, this was the first time I was working in the Brazil market. I don't know, there's this guy who's helping me out, thanks to him. There also, the same strategy that I was thinking played a very important role, where the client also feels very happy about the fact that we were not going on spending their money. It's been like, 12 days we have launched it and we have hardly spent like $400. It's mostly through PR activities only. Brand awareness is just really there. Again, coming back to the point, we're trying to revolve around the fact that we try to make the product very strong. Be it be a game, be any format service as well. We try to make sure the product is really strong and the early users enjoy using it and they then start recommending it to friends and family. There was this interview by Sam Alt when he was saying that the early adopters are the only key people who will, if you have a good number of people sticking to the product, eventually in the next 3 to 5 years you will be a very good brand where people will know about you. They will start reaching out to you for partnerships. So, in conclusion, net, I believe, slow and steady always wins the race. No matter even if you have a lot of money, use it wisely. Thanks, sir.
I'm going to juggle the order up. Why don't you also share any of the past success story, how a game publisher used Moloko or the platform and achieved success in the metrics that you would count it to be successful enough to be shared with the attendees over there.
I think in the initial conversations we have with clients, we try and ask them to move away from vanity metrics such as CPRs, CPMs, installs, and move more towards actionable metrics such as LTV, ROAS, profitability, and break-even periods. To share a few of these case studies, in fact, like Arjun said, the key is to keep doing experimentation and A/B testing because that's how you land towards what's working well and what's not. I would like to share, for example, India is heavily focused towards real money gaming as a sector. Now what we did is, for example, there was this large poker client and for poker, there are very few users who drive the ROI for the entire users which they gain from. So we tried running a ROAS campaign for that client, but somehow it didn't work out because as you go down the funnel, the number of events keep decreasing, and then there's not enough data to train for the machine and produce significant results. And for marketers, like they do not have that kind of patience that they would wait for 3 months or 4 months to gain that kind of performance which they are looking for. So what we did is, and that's where MMPs also come in picture. So we got them to create a custom event. So for example, for poker, high ticket, only the high ticket players matter. So we created a custom event which was a high ticket purchase event and trained our models on that event. And that's how we were, like, even though we were running a CPA campaign for that client, but the ROIs driven from that campaign were 3x higher than what they were running earlier. I think this was a good example for Android as a category. For iOS, there was in fact one of the largest gaming clients, and they tried the recent CPP feature which was launched by Apple. So trying out different landing pages and checking what works well and what not, and then focusing on what works well. I think that's how. So basically, getting a hold of client's brief, understanding what is the problem statement of the client, diving deep into it, how can you achieve that, and then take it ahead from there, instead of, like, as Arjun said, instead of getting the client's budget and spending it all.
Right, I'm going to change a little bit of direction, Sujit, over to you. Tell us some of the forward-looking trends, how gaming developers and game marketers should be looking at and forward to the MMP providers, right? and the solutions that you are coming up with and how they are evolving that is addressing the current challenges of developers that they are facing in their ecosystem.
So I think everybody will agree that the world is moving towards more privacy guidelines, right? And especially, I would say, see, in India, though, of course, India and South Asia are more Android market. But I think iOS is something where, especially on the gaming side of it, there is a lot of still need, right, or the iOS or whatever it used to be, right? Especially in the India side. So I think going forward, any app marketer, right, or a gaming studio or a developer who thinks about what's their iOS strategy will make a lot of difference. Start with, for example, since the time last 2 years when iOS Apple launched this privacy policy, the raw data was a very very important matrix. Has always been there, right? How probably like a place like Google, etc., right, optimize to get audiences, build audiences, you can actually get better ROI for them, for example, and similar for clients that which is the audience which is actually direct better ROI for them. But since the time this ATT has come, if a user has not given the permission to access the raw data, everything is limited on the aggregated level. So I think one from the future perspective, developers think on the iOS strategy will be very very important. They need to think of how they build their iOS apps, how they actually go out and increase the consent, right, of the users, right? And in this space, of course, NLPs like I just highlighted, how they can actually design strategies so that their consent ratio can become better. Right now, we see anywhere around 80% non-consent, right? But like 20% people are giving consent, right? How that can be increased. So we give them strategy. Of course, you can't go out and change the iOS as a policy, but we still give them ideas that okay, this kind of creative, this kind of do. And this is the time when you should actually give the prompt so that the consent ratio becomes important. Then also I think going forward, one important bit, since everything is on aggregated level, right? So SCAD started with SCAD 1 now, SCAD 4 is already there, iOS is building on SCAD 5 and we already launched the SCAD 4 solution. We're already working towards SCAD 5. So you do have a lot of aggregated level data available on the dashboard, be it your conversion values. So now coming back to conversion values is again very important, how you map them, right? Because you don't have post-install events naming like you have in Android, that okay, you got these many install, these many add to cart, these many people actually did a point purchase, these many did level up for a purchase. You need to make right set of conversion values so that you get basis that aggregated level data. You can actually make some sense, okay, that this channel is working for you, this ad, this creative is working for you, and hence you should spend on that. Same goes for the audience which you're building, right? This is the audience which can actually get a lot of ROIs. So I think MMPs help in both sense. For me, Android is already there. I think India and South Asia market we are already doing pretty good. I think we should continue doing well. But the next level of it, I'm also talking about revenues, right? It's if you talk about globally, when post ATT it was around 40-45% of the ROS was given to iOS in terms of Apple was still earning that kind of revenues. That dipped after the ATT thing came. Globally, it has still reached around that 40%, but India still we see around 22 to 23%. Right, it's still reaching around that. So we still have a lot of reach to at least reach the pre-ATT or a pre-COVID level, I think, because it was at the same time when the Apple was launched. So I think if you work around that, you still have a lot of revenues to do. And like he was saying that whatever money you earn, I think payback period is also important. At small brands, you need to earn that how soon you can actually whatever you are making as an investment, how soon you get it back is important. And iOS will play a big role in that in the India and South Asia market.
Avinash, your perspective and take on that.
Yeah. So speaking about trends, like I would like to continue from where we left. So you said custom product pages. So what I feel is that it's not enough just to follow the trend. We have to be at the top of the trend. So let me put you an example here. So one of our clients, at the time of they launched when Google launched promotional content, they were in the beta program. So they were working on it, and recently we found out that Google was on steroids because they were testing out the placement opportunities for promotional content like anything. So what they did was they launched all kinds of promotional content, and with one creative, but basic set of text and ad description, that's it. They launched it, and they were able to get more than 2 to 3 million visitors just by that. That's just by organically. They didn't even have to spend any money. They just have to do that one ad creative and one text description. That's all they had to do. So I believe that following up with trends or following up with what Google or Apple is doing or what are the new features that they are coming up with and staying on top of that, always be ready to experiment whatever that they are doing is a good way that we can always be on top of trend and get that organic visibility and get that visibility and downloads from the users as well.
Great. I think I'll keep very short and crisp. Any closing comments before we open the questions to audience? Kiti?
Already over time, so maybe we should just pass it on.
All right, let's just open it for the audience. Then, any questions for the panel? Anyone would love to ask anything? All right, there is no questions, and all right, there's one.
By the way, how many gaming studios or clients in the house?
That's a question for everybody.
Sorry, how many gaming studios are represented here? Can we have a show of hands, please?
Please meet me. We have a good talk.
Yeah. By the way, any comments on the latest communication from Unity a couple of days back?
We have that question and we parked that aside.
Yeah, correct. I think I had this discussion with one of our gaming studios. We have this CTO as a person who has worked on Unity for a lot of years. Right? And he being a our first question was this, which I asked him that what do you say you worked in Unity? And hypothetically tell us that he was the one who actually assisted just in getting the Unity SDK approved because of Unity at that point. As per him, it will get me. So let's say happy. Otherwise, let's see how it's going to go. I think I am not a person who can comment on it. Just give you hope, probably it's going to go.
Anybody else? Any questions or we wrap this up? Right. I think we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.